we're going to roll right into our next topic here, which is to talk a little bit about how you've successfully fundraised as a 3-day participant. Julie, I'll ask you to go first, and we'll just continue on down the line. But our goal with this webinar is to make sure that people understand that there are so many different ways to do the fundraising. We're all arriving at the same place, whether that's raising the $2,300 or a larger goal that we set for ourselves, but there are so many different ways to get there. So you'll hear a little bit about that as each of our panelists share the ways that they've successfully fundraised. So Julie, take it away.
Thank you. And I guess my fellow panelists, I'm just so inspired by your story. So thank you for sharing those. So I go about my fundraising almost entirely, it's an email campaign. I do add some Facebook posts for, what I call surround sound. I'm a marketer by profession, so I need surround sound marketing, but it's primarily email campaign, no events, no snail mail, etc. And I guess I have like 5 or 6 key points to think about. And the first one is think broadly about who you can ask. I have at this point over 500 people on my list of people I ask. I didn't start that way, but when you start thinking about family and friends of family and friends and colleagues and classmates, like my high school friends and my college friends and my business school friends, and then I thought through who I work with and my colleagues and the vendors and the contractors, my agency partners, my real estate agent who sold me my house, my boyfriend and my ex-boyfriend. You think about, I go through my email list. Anyone who's basically ever sent me an email is likely to get at least an initial inquiry. So think broadly about who you're going to ask. And then number 2, ask again and again and again. Don't be afraid to send friendly reminders. People's emails get, if you're doing an email campaign, they get buried quickly. People get busy. So I always just send a friendly reminder to, hey, just bringing this back up to the top of your inbox, and feel free to say no. I know there's a lot of great other causes out there, but I'll assume silence is you're still interested, and I'll keep following up. I guess third, I try to make it really personal or funny or emotional, and because I'm following up, 4 or 5 times over the course of a fundraising season, I'll probably make the first one personal, the second one funny, the third one emotional. I switch it up. I've written a poem that about the anniversary of the passing of my father, and I share that. I always get a lot of good reaction there. And then I guess fourth, don't forget about matching gifts. I think I mentioned I've raised just about $220,000 since I've started this. 75,000 of that has come in through matching gifts. And I'm fortunate to work for a company, that Johnson & Johnson, that matches 2 for 1. So any one of my colleagues who makes a donation, their donations automatically get tripled. But think through matching gifts, and they don't get tripled automatically. I shouldn't have said that. I do follow up with each colleague that I know works for a company that has matching gifts, whether it's Johnson & Johnson or another company, and ask them to make sure they submit for their matching gift. I provide directions for those who work for my company because I know those directions, etc. Fifth, I send thank you notes, and I follow up. I give people updates on my fundraising. It's part of the funny part, or at least I like to think so, in terms of how I share my updates and where the funding is coming from, and what my progress has been. And then I guess that's about it. I mentioned surround sound at the beginning with Facebook. I guess one little Facebook tip I've learned is Facebook has an algorithm for how your posts are showing up. So don't just put the link to your site, put a photo that's in there, because that's going to help your Facebook post show up in more people's feeds. And then I always have my sister strategically comment on my post, because it'll bring that post will get buried, and then that comment will bring it back up to the top of people's feeds. So 2 little Facebook tidbits, but that's smart. Basically how I go about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I like what you said, especially reminding people that if they are doing it on Facebook, to make sure that they add a photo, because it is definitely going to make sure there's more visibility. And one thing also, I know you had talked about, like, you reach out to a lot of people. So I loved especially that you were like, some boyfriends, some ex-boyfriends. Like, yeah, to me, everybody is fair game. And I'll talk a little bit about this, but in a lot of ways, it is a numbers game. So the more people you have to work with, the easier it's going to be for you to reach your goal, for sure.
Yeah,
Kathleen. Oh, sorry.
Can I just add one? I'll just add one thing super quick. As you get into this, and I know people listening might be, first-time fundraisers, or maybe you've been engaged for a while. But for me, fundraising, because my list has grown so large, is a way of keeping in touch with people that I otherwise don't keep in touch with. So it's like some people send Christmas cards. Yeah, I do that too. But this is my time where I give people an update on what's going on in my life, and have a little back and forth. So it becomes sort of a nice tool to continue growing your network and maintaining your friendships along the way.
That's a really good point. Thank you. Kathleen.
Hi, I'll echo pretty much everything she said. I'm also in the marketing field, and absolutely what she said about Facebook and driving it back to the top with comments and photographs. I absolutely recommend that. Because I'm a writer, and by trade, everyone seems to know that, I start with snail mail. I have a three-pronged approach. It starts with a letter. I follow up with a few emails, and then I actually send a postcard. But for me, letters draw the best. The longer the letter, the bigger the draw. The 1 year I tried to sneak in just like a little card. And 1 year I tried just an email to save some money on postage. And everybody said, well, where's the letter? I'm waiting for your letter to donate. So know your audience. That's my recommendation. If your audience is looking for a letter, then by all means, send them a letter. I also decorate the outside of my envelopes. Maybe it's just a little pink highlighter with a ribbon or a little sticky something, but just something that gets my letter noticed. Nobody gets real mail anymore. So when they get a letter in the mail, they tend to open it, I think. I think the content of my letter helps. I don't start with I don't make it about me. I make it about them, what they can do to change the world. And I have some posts on the message boards that people can go read about my opinions there. The other thing that I've tried just in the last couple of years, and I haven't done this before, is just some affiliate fundraising. I started the last couple of years doing some fundraising with a place called Lynch Creek Wreaths at Christmas time. They give you 20% of the sales or something like that. I don't make $2,300 off of them, but still a few $100s helps. And I just blast it all over Facebook starting in mid-November. They have all kinds of different wreaths for fall and Hanukkah and Christmas and swag and all kinds of things. So that's actually been pretty successful for me. And then the other thing that I do, and my confession to you, is that I've never met a theme that I didn't love. There's those goofy calendars with all kinds of celebration days, and I'll put something on Facebook or I'll send an email. Yesterday it was Good Neighbor Day, and actually our neighbor is the woman that I walk in honor of. She's celebrating 20 years being cancer-free this year. And so I put her picture up. It's Good Neighbor Day. Donate in honor of your neighbor. A few days ago or weeks ago, it was like Raisin Day or something like that. I know Tesha's not a fan of the raisin, but I put something out about help me with my fundraising. And people donate.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's something goofy. It's something more than just, hey, I need money, you need to donate. It's just a way to kind of get my message out there in a fun, lighthearted way. And there's a gazillion of them out there. You just, in my opinion, the goofier the better. It gets someone's attention. And I will echo, get your teammates or your friends or your family to comment, because more comments will drive your post higher in somebody's feed.
That's great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Crystal, you are up.
The way that I have fundraised is, as you know, I'm new, so this is kind of all new to me. In my community, you have to be able to not be afraid to get dirty. So, and jump in. People want to see you out in the community. So, first thing I did is my birthday was in November. So I asked for donations to the Susan G. Komen for my birthday. That's how I got started. Hey, I'm going to do this. Instead of giving me a gift or sending me a card, save the postage, donate to charity. The other thing is how many people have everything under the sun that they actually need for Christmas? I know my family does. So in return, I asked them to donate to my cause, to walk for Christmas. I gave them the links, or I gave them the donation form, and that's what they did. Another thing that I did in our community that really, really was awesome is I had a bake sale, and I know that's back to, the basics, but what I wasn't afraid to do is I wasn't afraid to ask for help, and that is a big one. I asked people, I said, hey, anybody want to bake something for me for this fundraiser? And I had 20 different volunteers to bake things for me who baked, and then all the money, I made over $1,000 just in, 4 hours worth of time of baked goods.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was cold, and it was rainy and snowy and miserable in April in Kansas. And, but I decided at that point in time that people with cancer don't get to choose what days they feel like doing it and what days they don't. So good, bad, or ugly, I was going to do this. And we froze, but it was absolutely worth it. Another thing that I did is, because cancer is something huge in my family, is I asked a local t-shirt shop if they would be interested in donating their work. And what I did is I took names, and I said, for $10 per name on the front of the t-shirt, I walked 60 miles in 3 days for. And then I have a list of names that I have put on the front of my t-shirts, and people have paid $10 per name to get their loved one's names on the front of my shirt. And then on the back, I asked for corporate sponsors, and I asked for a certain amount of money. The minimum amount that I asked for was $250. And I walked in there with the thoughts that I'm going to do this, and this does touch more than just me. So, and I walked in the first business and I got a yes. Well, that just makes you pretty much walk on water, and then you're not afraid to ask anymore. But I also knew that if I got a no, that was one no down, and the next one's probably going to be a yes. So those are some things that I did. But my biggest thing was, it's okay if you get a no. The next one may be a yes, and don't automatically assume you're going to get a no, because more people are going to say yes than the ones that say no.
That's right. That's great. I'm really glad to hear that, and it's been really great to hear how many different things you have tried, especially as a first-time fundraiser. I think you're giving yourself just such a deep well to pull from, and it's a really good reminder, even for those of us who have been doing this for a long time, of sometimes the things that you overlook are really the most successful. I mean, I'm thinking specifically of you saying how much money you raised through a bake sale. That's something that I think normally we would say, like, you're probably going to have to do a lot of bake sales to reach your fundraising minimum, and you've proved that statement wrong by saying you raised, what you say, over $1,000 with it. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Paula, you are up next. How have you successfully fundraised?
It has run the gamut over the years. When I started in 2002, the early years, it was pre-social media, and snail mail really was the way to go. I always included a return envelope, and I always included a pink ribbon, and part of my message was, let me walk for somebody that who's been touched by breast cancer. That was a motivator for them to mail me back a donation and that pink ribbon. And in my thank yous, and I did carry those ribbons, and I sent them back in my thank yous so that they had symbolically walked the 60 miles with me. Then over the years, I just mixed it up. I was kind of a fundraising chameleon. I think if you leverage your strengths and your interests, it can be really helpful. I did my fundraising one year almost solely on selling little bracelets that I enjoyed making them. They were easy to make. They had a breast cancer theme. I could get the pieces and parts wholesale, and I had the time to do that, so it worked for me. And I sold them for $20 and made a lot of money. Always carried them with me and was kind of the bracelet lady that year, and that really helped. Other years I've done things, and sometimes I'll do multiple things in any given year. The good old garage sale, for me, it has been helpful, and it's a way to ask other people to clean out their closets, and instead of donating to, somewhere else, to bring the stuff to me, and that has been a helpful team kind of fundraising event to do. Garage sales can be kind of intimidating for just one, but at those garage sales, I always had donation forms. I always had a small bake sale going on the side, and it was just a way to capture a lot of dollars in a pretty quick afternoon or morning. But then when my husband started doing the walk in 2004 with me, and we were doing 2 walks a year, we had some substantial fundraising to do. And again, we're the party family. We had a nice big backyard, and we had connections to some musicians, and one thing led to another, and we started doing a fundraising event. We called it Booba Palooza. We called it the Concert to Save Second Base. And we had a friend's band who donated their time, so we had live music. I got a great deal. I live in California. We have a taco truck, kind of the food truck thing of back in the day, and charged a $30 tax donation to attend the event. That was to get people in. What made the money was all of the raffle prizes and tickets we sold, and silent and live auction items. We had drink tickets that people would buy, and a 50-50 drawing during the night. We had between anywhere from 85 to 120 people at these events each year, and they do take some time. If it's something you want to commit to, you can raise big money. We raised between $8,000 and $10,000 in an evening doing these events. But it was absolutely fun. People waited for Booba Palooza. People planned a vacation around our usual August date to make sure they could come to Booba Palooza. So that was the big event that really helped us fundraise year after year. The last thing is just a simple thing that everybody can do, and it's adding a signature with a link to your fundraising page in your email signature. Everybody, I think just about every email provider gives you an option to set up a signature. And it's something easily to paste in there, and it goes out with every mail. It was something my husband did on his email for his business. And he got donations that way, just in communicating with people where maybe he hadn't even had the conversation, but it says, I'm walking in November for this reason, click here to donate. And that was a quick and easy way to also just bring in some funds.
That's great, thank you. You and everybody who has spoken before, and I'm sure Sharon's going to touch on this too, it's just a reminder to me of something that I talk with participants about, and about our coaching team about, is just that you're really only limited by your imagination and the law, of course, with what you do for fundraising. I mean, all of you have just spoken about such unique ways of going about this, and it's such a good reminder that really you can do pretty much anything you want for fundraising, as long as you're willing to kind of just think outside the box a little. Sharon, I'm going to toss it over to you. Tell us how you fundraised for the 3-day.
Well, thank you, Molly. It started as Paula's did with snail mail, because I really didn't have the expertise to do an email blast. So I did snail mail, and I did include a self-addressed stamped envelope. And I got the majority of my money that way, which was amazing. Then I started to get a little bit more creative. My hairdresser has a full-service salon, and she wanted to help. So I think it was in 2008, she and all of her girls made themed baskets. They got teams. So the girls owned the shop, created the name of the theme. So it was a chocolate basket or a New Hampshire basket or wine or whatever the choice was. And the girls went in together with their own money and they created the basket, and there were probably 5 of them. And people bought tickets. We had a 50-50 raffle as well. And they've done it every year since then.
Wow.
So, and they do it for the entire month of October. So this past October, they handed me a check for $2,200.
Wow.
And I launched this year with that. So I always take advantage of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I have my nails done at a different salon, and she's got a brand new place. And this year she did it as well. And she handed me a check for $550. So everybody gets their hair done. Most people get their nails done. Find out if they are willing to do that for you. When you do it for a month, it doesn't hurt anybody. You know, it doesn't take the bite out of it. It's not a day. You don't cram it all in one little time frame, so it spreads it out. And the girls are really good about it. But here's my big one. 10 years ago, I live in New Hampshire. 10 years ago, my husband suggested that I go to the state liquor stores and get permission to do a canning event. I said, okay. So I reached out to see who I needed to talk to, and it's the liquor commissioner that actually gives you permission. So I started at the 2 premier state-run liquor stores. They're all state-run in New Hampshire on Route 95. So you get the northbound traffic and you get the southbound traffic. They're across the street from each other. And everybody that's on my team that wants to take part in it lets me know what their availability is. I run it for 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Everybody has a shift. I house people here for the weekend because they come from Connecticut, they come from Florida, and it's typically a $10,000 weekend. And all you're doing is standing there asking people for donations. We're not allowed to sell anything. So we have posters, and we have people dressed in. John McHale, who a lot of you know by name, some by sight, wears a tutu, he wears a boa, he wears whatever I tell him to put on. And he is amazing. And people remember him. Oh, I saw you there last year. So we start this coming Friday. And I add up the total number of hours that it takes for the entire weekend. So if you're on the slow side and somebody's on a busy side, it really doesn't make any difference. I assign a dollar value based on the amount of money that's been brought in. So if it's $10,000 and it's 105 hours, you divide one into the other, and everybody gets the same amount of money depending on the number of hours that they work. So there's an hourly value assigned to that. So if you're only available for 4 and somebody's available for 10, you're still going to get the same amount of money that you worked.
Wow. All right.
So this is 10 years.
Yeah, and you said that's happening this weekend?
It is. We start at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, and we will end at 8 o'clock on Monday night.
Wow. Yes, you'll get them in both directions. Well, that's great. Thank you. And thank you to all 5 of you. You have such amazing stories. I know when I had the pleasure of speaking with all of you to set this up, I was just inspired by what you have done. And, you know, most of you have been doing this for many, many years. And the fact that you're still bringing in that money is, it's such a testament to the commitment to this event, but also to how you are willing to think outside the box and try new things and see how your fundraising can evolve.